Hey, what's going on guys? Jolts here, back with another video, and today we're going to be covering all the major OP10 Krieg builds. Now, I know I should have had these videos out a long time ago, in fact, like, what, 2 years ago? Sorry, BL3 came out and I got sidetracked, but we're back at it. I know it's late, but we're doing it. Let's get it done. Anyways, with the introduction of OP10, Krieg has so many more skill points, and you can legit get, like, everything in your builds that you need. With that in mind, he is a master at mobbing. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that juicy detail, and let's see what the build has. So first off, we're going to start with the Bloodbath setup, and some people call it Reaper build because we do use the Legendary Reaper, but Bloodbath is the main focus of all your damage for this build. First up, we have the Slagga, and that's for slagging your enemies. The cool thing about Krieg is you don't have to rely on Moxie weapons. So instead of hugging the Grog Nozzle for every single build, Krieg doesn't need that. He has two major healing skills, which is throughout the kill, so when you get a kill, you're pretty much back to full HP. And Elemental Empathy, when enemies are taking damage over time, you're gonna heal. So Slagga, hands down, a great weapon to slag enemies with. The Peak Opener. Yes, this thing is broken on Krieg. If you guys did not see my OP10 speedrun on Peak with Krieg, I would recommend watching that. Yeah, with this weapon, we cleared the Peak in like 14.5 minutes, and this thing's awesome. So the thing about the Peak Opener is the damage is not true, it does way more than what it says, but at the cost of 4 ammo per shot. Now, what makes this really nasty on Krieg is it always activates Bloodbath on a kill. If you don't know, with Bloodbath, when you're 10 out of 5 on it, when you get a splash kill, you will get 500% bonus gun damage. 500%! This thing activates it all the time, which means it's always going to be active on this gun. Gross. The Conference Call. Now, don't worry about having this on all the time. This is my peak setup, but Conference Call is going to be for your flying enemies and also your bigger bosses. Speaking of flying enemies, when it comes to the peak, there's a lot of surveyors. You can shoot the hive straight up in the air and just forget about them, and this thing will take care of them. Launcher Splash will always activate Bloodbath, so you're good to go. The Rough Rider. Health stacking on OP10 is still essential on Krieg. Yes, enemies will hit for millions of damage, but if you stack all of your health together, you can sustain those kind of hits. Also with Krieg, his major skills are going to give you shield recharge delay, so any shield that has a capacity will pretty much never be up. And on top of that, you get bonus HP and damage reduction. The Pandemic. This is not a damage grenade, this is only for utility. This grenade is actually one of the best for stacking Bloodlust, so when you throw this, it will home into enemies and connect a corrosive damage over time. If you guys don't know, corrosive damage over time has the longest damage over time in the game, so you're gonna get many stacks of Bloodlust. For those who don't know, Bloodlust is a thing on Krieg in which the more stacks you have, the more bonuses your skills give you. The Blood of the Ancients, you want a health stack, like I said, you want to have all the HP. On top of that, with the Peak Opener being our main weapon, you gotta have all of the ammo. Remember, the Peak Opener consumes 4 ammo per shot, so you gotta make sure you have a lot. As for your secondary ammo, I do recommend the shotgun because you can use the interfacer too, and that will also eat through ammo extremely fast. Legendary Reaper. The only thing good about this is the long kill skill duration and also the +5 on Bloodbath. With those two things, we can chain our kill skills and have insane gun damage. Now, as you can see down here, we have a very overfilled backpack, so I'm not going to cover everything because that would take literally forever. But just know if you want to take something off, you can go ahead and equip a garbage gun at the bottom, so one of these starter pistols, if I can find one, there we go. And then drop it off if you want to like unequip a gun. Toothpick, a very high DPS weapon, and if you put on the Retainer Shield, you can run really fast and jump really high at the Writhing Deep map. Interfacer, one of the best highest damage per second shotguns in the game. A low-level infection for stacking Bloodlust if you want to. It has a really high chance for damage over time. The Lead Storm. Some enemies suck and don't give you kill skills like Batasaurus, so you can't get Bloodbath. With that in mind, you can put this on with the B-Shield and spray him down. We have some Butchers, and with Krieg you can have a lot of fire rate, which means you can spam all the bullets. Now, ammo does cost quite a bit on OP10, so if you need to sell a Tunguska for money, you can do that. The Carnage. Yeah, this weapon is actually pretty awesome on Krieg. This thing is all splash, so when you get a kill, it always activates Bloodbath. And with max stacks, you can actually one-shot mobs with this thing. It is awesome. A low-level Logan's gun just for regenning rockets. Put this on with the Sham Shield, you can shoot the floor and regen. Don't buy launcher ammo on OP10, it's just way too much money. A rocket jumping Bada Boom, and yes, Krieg is terrible at rocket jumping, but he can still do it. Baby Makers, this thing chucks for grenade damage, and with that in mind, it will always activate Bloodbath. Norfleet's very strong launcher, good for second winds, also activates Bloodbath on demand. Lyuda's really high DPS weapon, good for long range and your flying enemies. The Flacker, we gotta talk about this one. So you can see here the Flacker shoots really slow, and that's not very good. But when you swap away and swap back, it resets fire rate, so check this out. Shoot it, swap away, swap back, and you can fire this thing really fast. And remember, Krieg has all the swap speed with a skill called, I think, Blood Twitch, right? Yeah, Blood Twitch, which means you can just fire this thing off insanely fast, and this thing destroys everything. We have some conference calls, and a slag one's going to be for slagging Hatterax, he's a pain to slag. Fire one's going to be for Hatterax too, and also a shock one for Chromorax. Really, the conference call can be used in any situation, bossing, mobbing, flying enemies, whatever. We have a Herald, and you might notice it's not a Deepa. Yeah, because Krieg has all the fire rate and no recoil reduction, we want to go for either hard or intense Herald. Hard Herald is the damage prefix, and intense is going to be fire rate. Overall for Krieg, I find the hard prefix a little bit better. The Infinity, not for damage whatsoever, it's just for bringing down the Ancient Dragons. As you might know, if they take any damage over time and land, they cannot be slagged. So the Infinity is a good spammy choice for bringing them down. Bada boom, this one is for the explosive build. Pop this on to activate Bloodbath on demand and also get your second wins. Splasher Blasters, that's going to be for the Bloodlust build. These things are pure gun splash, so when it gets a kill, it will always activate Bloodbath. Now, I do want to bring up why I keep mentioning Splash and Bloodbath and whatnot. If you get a normal gun damage kill, it will not activate Bloodbath. It's got to be a kill with Splash. Now, some guns do have splash damage and gun damage, for example like the Herald. Sometimes with the Herald it will activate Bloodbath and sometimes it won't. If a gun is all splash, like the Splasher Blaster for example, it will always activate Bloodbath every single kill. Some darts, that's going to be for activating Bloodbath on demand. Chuck one of these with a high mag, it will almost always get a kill. Topnias, this is going to be my choice for when it comes to mobbing, if I need a second win or a kill. But when it comes to like tougher mobbing or bosses, I will always have the Norfleet on. Plasma Casters, that's going to be for chucking and activating Bloodbath. The Slow Hand, as you might have seen on YouTube, I did post a video about a reflection kill on Hyperius. You could shoot this at the floor, slag yourself, and then go for the reflection kill. If you're not familiar, if you wear the antagonist shield and shoot Hyperius' shield, it will reflect off his shield and then reflect off of you and then build up damage. So basically, if you're lucky, it will chain back and forth until Hyperius dies. By slagging yourself, you can get triple damage on that chain. The bonus launcher. Yes, we are going to be doing Javelin Krieg. If you don't know, Krieg has the ability to grow his mag, and upon doing so, he can reload TDR launchers without even shooting them. On top of that, TDR launchers don't consume ammo when you chuck them, so with the Javelin build, you can grow a huge mag and then chuck infinite of these. Just to really show it off, you can see here that we have our Javelin on, and we're going to go ahead and apply a damage over time. And watch my mag, it's going to grow to 6, and now we can chuck this. And we have 32 shots, we still have 32, we get another stack, we throw that, we still have 32. Yeah, it doesn't consume ammo. So you can imagine after we have a huge mag, this thing is going to chuck for ridiculous damage. The Amigo Sincero, this is only for killing the Chief during the Veracitus fight or shooting off Pete's helmet. A Bad Touch and Good Touch, I only use these for the Glass Tank build. In fact, let's go ahead and show that off right now. We're going to put on this turtle shield right here, and this is a very specific turtle shield. Torg, Vladoff, Malawan, and OP10. With that in mind, we can take off a certain amount of HP, a specific amount of HP, and put us at a very, very low value. So let's go ahead and not have all the HP for a moment. And we'll put on the Pain Meat, here we go. And that's going to give me health regen a decent amount, as you can see there. And look at my HP right now, we have like nothing. So if I take like any damage, let me find some enemies. Yeah, so if I take any damage, watch my HP. We're health gated, we refill. So in this game, there's no way to really get one-shotted unless you're taking environmental damage or damage from yourself. So when enemies hit you really hard, you stop at a sliver of HP, and the game gives you time to pull out a healing weapon and heal back up. With the Glass Tank build, we're taking advantage of the health gate mechanic. We have a quad, and you can use the Hydra or the quad, it doesn't really matter too much. But when you're going for reflection kills on Hyperius, you can put the quad on and spam the shield, and if you get the chain just right, it will insta-kill him. Also, a little hidden thing about gemstones you might not know about is when you hold them, you have a 15% chance to reflect enemy bullets. That is actually pretty nice for a reflection kill. We have a Rocketeer, and this is only for lowering my HP manually if I'm trying to activate my Release the Beast. If you don't know, when you activate Release the Beast, you need to be below 33% HP. But let's say you're like, I don't know, 40%. You can go ahead and pop that on. Let me see if I can find it. There you are. And you can simply shoot the floor and lower your HP manually. And there we go. Now we can do like Release the Beast, if I had it. The Hail, I only use it for the Glass Tank setup, and it does have Splash, so it can sometimes activate Bloodbath, and it does pretty decent damage too. Heartbreaker, another healing weapon, and I only use it for Glass Tank build too. A Twister, this thing with Bloodbath does pretty awesome damage. Also, it has Splash, can't activate Bloodbath. The Orphan Maker, on Krieg you can make this thing work pretty well. Remember, we can grow our mag size and shoot this thing a lot, and even though it does self-damage when you shoot it, our healing skills are going to take care of that. Lady Fist, even without the B shield on Krieg, this thing with Bloodbath and going for crits would do pretty awesome damage. Pimpernel, a really high DPS weapon, so pop this on and spam it away. Sandhawk, I mean, if you want a B-Hawk, you can, but I don't use these very often. They're just high DPS weapons. A Slag Pimpernel, that's going to be for slagging enemies if you want to. When it comes to mobbing, I always use Slagga, but when it comes to some bosses, I'll put on the Slag Pimpernel. A Rapier, I only use it for Blood-Sploding Pete or Voracitus. All of your melee damage comes from Release the Beast, so you're never going to be holding this anyways. But if you happen to go in a fight for your life or something, you can go ahead and poke your enemies with this. The Grog, hands down the best healing weapon in the game. Put this on with the Flame of the Firehawk and you're never going to die. A Mouthwash, if you want to use it with the Toothpick, you can. The Hard Carry, I only use it for the Peak if I'm trying to get a fight for your life kill. If you did not know, when you have on the Peak set, which is going to be the Peak Opener, the, what is that show called? Easy Mode, and Hard Carry, if you go in a fight for your life, you'll have 2 minutes of fight for your lifetime. With that in mind, let's say, I don't know, Dukino's mom downs you. You can literally just sit and fight for your life for 2 minutes and spam the Peak Opener. Yes, it will be slow, but you can get the kill by doing that. The Bone of the Ancients, really good for boosting your elemental damage and also your cooldown. When it comes to Krieg, cooldown doesn't really matter because we only use our action skill with Release the Beast, and with that in mind, you should never really have to wait on cooldown. Blood of the Ancients for boosting our max HP and launcher ammo. This will be for the Javelin build, so you can chuck all the ammo. Jacob's Allegiance Relic just for boosting your quad's mag size for the reflection kill. The Sheriff Badge if you want to boost your pistol damage, fire rate, and fight for your lifetime. It's pretty good for the Lady Fist, Herald, all that good stuff, but also the secret effect is it will boost your Buzzsack's throw speed. Yeah, for whatever reason, your Buzzsack is coded as a bandit pistol in the code, so when you chuck them, you can put this on to chuck them even faster. Explosive Relic for an explosive build, or if you want to go for a Blood Explosion kill. Deputy Badge, I don't use it very often because I prefer to have all the shotgun ammo with the Blood of the Ancients. Also, Krieg already has all the reload speed too, but if you want to, you can pop this on. Legendary Sickle, that's going to be for the melee build. Legendary Torch, that's going to be for the bullet spam build. This class mod will give you an insane amount of fire rate. Legendary Psycho, that's going to be for the Javelin build because it's the only class mod that actually boosts blood-filled guns. Yeah, with that skill, we're going to have a huge mag size. Diesel Blister, if you want to go for the Blood Explosion kill on Pete or something, you can pop this on to get all the Feel the Blood. The Toast class mod, this is only for the Reflection kill. It will heavily boost your mag size. Chaotic Evil Barbarian, if you're doing anything with the B-Shield and going for crits, then you want to pop this thing on. I only use it for Hadrax because you gotta, hit the crit spot to knock them over. So with this, you can easily achieve that. Flesh Crunch, that's for the explosive build, all the explosive damage. Chaotic Neutral Barbarian for all the mag size. As far as I know, I only use it for Batasaurus. During that fight, there's no enemies in the arena, so I can't get Bloodbath, so pop on the B-Shield, Lead Storm with this thing, you'll get the kill. Pain Meat, like I showed before, for the Glass Tank setup. A low-level Longbow Slag Crossfire. You can chuck one of these and it will slag everything on the battlefield. Now, you can see it says it has 1 fuse, that is not true. That is a visual bug, it has 0 fuse. All the fastballs because they easily activate Bloodbath and it's a high damage grenade. Quasar if you want to break some shields or stagger your enemies. The Stormfront, another really good choice for stacking Bloodlust, but overall I find the Pandemic a little bit better for that. Chain Lightning, you can regen grenades if you have this on, and also chuck one of these with the Grog for full HP. A low-level Magic Missile just for slagging, I don't use it very often. Retainer Shield, put this on with the Toothpick, you can run fast and you're Writhing Deep. The Easy Mode, put this on with the Peak Opener and the Hard Carry, and you can have 2 minutes of fight for your lifetime, and 100% bonus damage on your Peak Opener. The Punchy, I only use this for Blood-Sploding Pyro Pete. Yes, the Hide of Terra is more void damage, but the problem is when the hide breaks, it releases a Fire Nova. With that in mind, the Fire Nova will kill the Spider Ants and ruin the Blood Explosion chain. The Punchy does not release a Nova when it breaks, so you can easily get that Blood Explosion chain. Antagonist, like I said before, for the Reflection kill. Put this on and spam at Hyperion's shield and he will instantly die. Evolution, I don't use it very often, but it can be useful for the Ancient Dragons fight. In that fight, the dragons are spamming a lot of damage over time, so it will protect you. The Hide of Terramorphous, I only use it for the Blood Explosion on Voracitus. The midgets in the arena are tanky enough so the Fire Nova won't actually kill them. With that in mind, you want to make sure you have the strongest Blood Explosion chain, so you want to have all the void damage. The Sham, pop this on with the Logan's Gun and regen your rockets. Transformer, if you do want to, you can put this on with the Dukino's mom fight. The Shock Ball attack won't be too harsh on you. Flame of the Firehawk, this is, really good for stacking Bloodlust and also creating Novas. The cool thing about Nova Shields is they always activate Bloodbath too. Also, if you hold the Grog, you're never gonna die. 2B Shields, not the best shield on Krieg, but there's some situations in which you'll get good use out of it. Pretty much I only use the Corrosive one for Hadrax and the Fire one for Peak stuff. And finally, after 123 items, sorry about that, there's a lot to explain, the shields I showed off for the Glass Tank setup before. Alright, that's all the gears, so let's go ahead and go over the build. Now, I do want to explain each skill, the good and bad about it, hidden effects and whatnot. But this build right here is going to be my normal, typical Bloodlust build. Or not Bloodlust, sorry, Bloodbath build. So let's go ahead and start over here. Blood-filled guns. The more you stack Bloodlust, the more mag size you get. And now, I do want to point out that Bloodlust can be stacked from anything. Jump damage, grenade damage, damage over time, melee damage, whatever. Any source of damage. Chucking pandemics around is going to be your best way to stack that fast. Blood Twitch. When you get a kill, you get crazy swap speed depending on Bloodlust. Taste of Blood. When you get a melee kill, you get a bunch of Bloodlust stacks and damage reduction. For the melee build, this skill is really good. Bloody Revival. I never used the skill ever, but it is actually a little bit useful if you're doing the peak set and want to go and fight for your life with the peak opener. You can get a little bit out of that, but again, not really worth it. Blood Overdrive. I never used the skill, it's just not good. But when you get a kill with a bullet, depending on your Bloodlust stacks, you get more melee damage and reduced fuse time on your grenade. Now, when it comes to a pure melee build, you're not killing with bullets, you're killing with melee. So you're never really going to get use out of the skill. Also, all of our grenades are pretty much zero fuse, so no point. Bloodbath. This is the ultimate skill on Krieg. When you get a kill with any kind of splash damage, you activate this skill, and depending on your stacks, you get a bunch of weapon damage. Yeah, with 10 out of 5 on the skill, when you have max stacks, you get 500% bonus gun damage. And remember, we're going to be chaining that, so you're going to have that active all the time. Also, a nice thing here too is when you get a kill, you always get grenades back too. So you can spam all the pandemics or all the fastballs or anything you want really. Buzzsax Bombardier, you will add explosive damage to your Buzzsax throws. That chuck damage is grenade damage, so you can boost it with Feel the Blood. Speaking of Feel the Blood, that's the next skill. When you get a melee kill, depending on how many Bloodlust stacks you have, you will get a bunch of bonus grenade damage. Yeah, that means if you heavily boost this skill, you will get a lot out of Buzzsax Bombardier and also Blood Explosion. Blood Trance, you increase your Buzzsax Rampage duration. This skill isn't bad, but I don't really find use out of it. When you're in Buzzsax Rampage, you can't really throw grenades or pull out a Moxie weapon or slag or anything like that, so making that duration even longer isn't really all the best. Boiling Blood, that will increase the Bloodlust stack hold time. Now for Javelin build, you don't want this. And the reason for that is if you reach your max stacks on the Javelin build, you cannot actually reload. Remember, we have to grow our Bloodlust stacks to actually reload our launcher and not consume ammo. If I'm sitting at max stacks, I can't gain any more, which means I can't grow my mag and chuck another Javelin. So our only option is to shoot the launcher and waste ammo and then do a chuck. Otherwise, Boiling Blood is pretty much good for every other build. Nervous Blood, when you get a kill, you get a lot more reload speed depending on your Bloodlust stacks. And Blood Explosion, when you get a kill, your overkill damage is going to be a grenade explosion. And that grenade explosion will be of the element that you killed the enemy with. Now with melee being non-elemental, it will default to explosive damage. Now for those wondering how you get that really strong Blood Explosion chain, it's all based on Feel the Blood. So if you boost this to, 10 out of 5, 11 out of 5, when you get a melee kill, you're going to have insane grenade damage. And that's going to boost Blood Explosion. And that is the key to blood splitting, Pyro Pete or the Ancient Dragons or anything like that. Empty the Rage. That will increase your melee damage, and if your shield is down, you get even more melee damage. Only grab this skill for a melee build. Pull the pin, garbage skill, don't grab it. But if you die, you drop a copy of your grenade, and if it gets a kill, you get double XP. We're already level 80, so no point. Feed the Meat, that will give you a bunch of HP and shield recharge delay. Remember, Krieg is all about health stacking for OP10, so you want all the HP. I don't think there's any build in which I don't grab this. Embrace the Pain, it will increase your shield recharge delay, but also give you a lot of fire rate. Now, for a lot of builds, we're always using the Rough Rider, which means our shield's always going to be down. With that in mind, we always get that huge chunk of fire rate. Feel the Rampage, you're never going to need this after having released the Beast if you're doing melee, because you're never going to be waiting on cooldown. You will always be able to chain your action skill. Thrill of the Kill, only add 1 point here. Never do 2, never do 3, there's really no point. 50% of your overkill damage is returned as health, and when you're talking about OP10 guns, your guns literally do millions of damage, so one bullet hits the enemy and gets a kill, you're back to full HP. Now, in this game, when it comes to class mods, you gotta make sure you put at least 1 point into the skill to get the bonuses. So even though the Legendary Reaper boosted by 5, if I had no points in here, I would not get that bonus at all. It's not like Borderlands 3. But yeah, 1 out of 5, 6 out of 5, it doesn't matter, you're still gonna be full HP after each kill. Like the Fuse, pretty bad skill, does not scale good to OP10, but if you're in Fight for Your Life, you get increased movement speed and can run around with dynamite. At your choosing, you can blow yourself up and try to get a second win. On OP10, this skill is never gonna kill. Strip the Flesh, you get bonus explosive damage and more Fight for Your Life time. You want this for almost every build, because we are doing melee, which means we're using Blood Explosion, we can boost it with this. Redeem the Soul, even though we're not doing co-op to revive teammates with this skill, it still gives you an extra 50% Fight for Your Life time. For 1 point, definitely worth it. Salt the Wounds, not a bad skill, it does give you bonus melee and shotgun damage, but this skill is not good at stacking. Like, even in heavy combat with enemies shooting you and whatnot, you're never really going to see yourself at 20 stacks. Yeah, I don't grab this skill very often because you don't really get much use out of it. Silence the voices. It will massively increase your melee damage, but at the cost of 12% chances of hitting yourself in the face. Always grab this for a melee Krieg. Also, another thing I want to bring up. If you're doing melee Krieg, don't use void shields. You might be thinking, why? Void damage, melee, it goes together. That is because if you have Fuel the Blood and Silence the Voices and you hit yourself in the face, you will down yourself in one shot. As crazy as it sounds, even on OP10, Krieg doesn't need void damage. Your melee skills are your void damage. So for melee builds, we always use Rough Rider, which means we take reduced damage even if we hit ourselves in the face. And with that in mind, if we get really unlucky, we can even hit ourselves in the face 5-6 times before we go down. Finally, Release the Beast. When you're below 33% HP, you can activate the skill and go into Release the Beast. And upon activating Release the Beast, you're going to do this special animation in which you're invincible. After that animation is over, you will be vulnerable again, and you can go ahead and swing around. Now, when it comes to the melee build, what you want to do is swing and get your kill to activate Fuel the Blood, and then stop swinging at that point because now you have Fuel the Blood and Release the Beast, Silence the Voices. And so if you hit yourself in the face, you're going to feel that. So what you want to do is swing and get a melee kill, activate Fuel the Blood, and start chucking axes. You want to get the most of what you can out of BuzzX Bombardier, and with this skill alone, you're going to be able to kill enemies pretty easily. And once Fuel the Blood runs out, go ahead and swing again and activate it back up, and then keep chucking and keep repeating that pattern. That is the basics of melee Krieg. Alright, onto the final tree over here, we have Burn Baby Burn. Burn damage is increased and you also get additional on fire bonus. On top of that, you also have a chance to self-ignite yourself back on fire. Now, when it comes to Hellborn, you want to be on fire as much as you can and get all these bonuses from this beautiful skill tree. This skill is not bad, but we're already going to be getting ourselves on fire from all the other skills. And that burn damage does not matter because damage over time on OP10 is pretty garbage. So 90% of the time, I don't grab this skill. Fuel the Fire. When you get a kill, you have a high chance for elemental status effects and to reignite yourself. This skill is really good, and obviously we don't care about trying to kill with damage over time, we only care for applying slag. With 10 out of 5, we have a 400% chance increase on slag. That's like 2 bullets from my slagga. Enemies are going to be slagged. Really good skill. Numb Nerves. When you're on fire, you take damage reduction. Even though we have a massive amount of HP, we still want to protect ourselves. Pain is Power. Now, this skill is good and bad, but for the build we're doing right here, this is good. This skill will increase your weapon and melee damage at the cost of critical hit damage. Now, most of the time, we're not really aiming for crits on Krieg with a Bloodbath build. Plus, a ton of our weapons that we use to activate Bloodbath don't actually crit. For example, like the Peak Opener or the Topnia, stuff like that. Elemental Elation. When you apply status effects, you can get up to 20 stacks, and those stacks will increase your fire rate and mag size. Yeah, because we're going to have pandemics all over the battlefield, we're going to have max stacks of this pretty often. On top of that, there is a pretty cool hidden effect with the skill, and that is the fire rate actually applies to your BuzzX throws. Yeah, so with max stacks of this and the Sheriff's Badge, you're going to more than double your throw speed on your BuzzXs. That is a huge DPS increase. Delusional Damage. Any status effect you apply will have a chance to put you on fire. And remember, when you're on fire, you get boost from pretty much every skill in the skill tree. Fire Fiend. Melee attacks have a chance to ignite enemies. Now, for a melee build, I never use this, but the things we care about on the skill is the weapon accuracy and reload speed you get with it. Now, for those bonuses, you only get those when you're on fire. Flame Flare, not a bad skill, but again, we already have all these other skills to put ourselves on fire, so I don't want to waste the points here. But with this skill, you have a longer burn duration on yourself, and you have a chance to reignite yourself again. As long as you're chucking pandemics, you're always going to be on fire, and you don't have to worry about the skill. Hellfire Halitosis, this skill is garbage. When you press melee, you breathe fire that does no damage. Never grab it unless you want to use it to stack Bloodlust for the memes. Elemental Empathy. Now, outside of Thrill of the Kill, this is your other source of healing, and any damage over time you apply on the battlefield to your enemies will actually heal you. Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier, but you don't have to rely on Moxie weapons for Krieg. With this skill, you're going to be covered. And finally, Raving Retribution. When enemies damage you, that will shoot out fireballs and apply fire damages over time. That is going to be really good for stacking Bloodlust, keeping yourself on fire, and if those fireballs get a kill, it will activate Bloodbath. Alright, that's it for all the skills. I know it was a lot, but Krieg is a very complex and fun character if you know how to build him. So I really hope I explained everything pretty good. Now I'm not going to explain every build in detail, so I'm going to show all the builds in montage form. So if you have any questions about any of the builds I'll be showing off, go ahead and comment that below. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and of course if you did, then please be sure to leave a like because that'd be awesome. And if you guys really enjoyed it, be sure to sub. You guys have a great day, and I will see you all later. Peace out.
Bloody sand! Give me back my skull! Bring the axe! Bring the help!